What's going on, YouTube, fam? It's your boy Tony 2 times, and we back with another episode of Hood Tales, man. Before I start, be sure to tap that like button. Definitely watch this video to the end to hear the full story and all the details in the case. For my day one fam, y'all already know it's all love. Thanks for tuning back into another episode. If you're new to the channel and you feeling the content, feel free to subscribe. Definitely hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time we drop another video. Oh yeah, feel free to share the channel with your peoples. Everybody is welcome. Y'all keep up with me. It's a lot of twists and turns in this story. But with that being said, let's get right into it. In this cold and evil world, for a lot of people, they lean on to things that get them through everyday life. It could be vices like smoking, drinking, or harder drugs, just to get by. Of course, we shouldn't judge no one because you never know what people are going through or past traumas they have to deal with that makes them carry themselves how they do to cope in life. While those things are often pointed to as negative vices, you also have people that have positive vices. That could be going to the gym, meditation, but for a lot of individuals, they rather put their trust, pain, and fear into the hands of a higher power. While some just wake up and pray to whatever higher being they believe in, others need more of a fellowship and physical connection. So they lean more towards the church. For centuries, the church house has been a place of peace, refuge, understanding, and guidance for individuals that need a good word or to build a stronger connection with God. And of course, in most churches, you have the big man's in the sky right-hand man, the pastor, who is supposed to have a direct line with the Most High and deliver you the word as it is given to him. Now, of course, you have good pastors who live modest lives, believe in helping the people, giving back to the community, and will never cross certain lines. But on the flip side of that, the reason a lot of people have fell back from the church is the hustler preachers, finessing the congregation, being a little bit too friendly with the women in the church, as we all have seen or heard a church scandal. People don't usually realize how much power they give to a preacher. And actually for most, it's a sin they don't even realize they are committing, worshiping a false idol, not realizing we are all human and fall short. But when a betrayal comes from the place and people you hold to the highest regard, that pain hits a little different. And on this episode of Hood Tales, we'll be taking it to Detroit, Michigan to discuss the story of a man who accused his pastor of getting his wife pregnant, leading to a fatal confrontation. All the way back in 2015, 25-year-old Deontay Smith was on top of the world. He was in the prime of his life, athletic, coming from a high school football star to playing semi-pro football for the Michigan Lightning. The young man had a rough upbringing, growing up in Detroit's 7 Mile neighborhood. He wasn't really that close with his father, and in his early years, he gravitated more towards the street life. But after realizing the blocks and cities we claim so much bring so much death and destruction, Deontay left that life alone, made a change for the better, and put all that pain into football. On the field, he was a beast, showing his skills and dedication. But off the field, the young man was going through changes and evolving spiritually. In one live video, he spoke on the street cycle, how many people he lost, claiming neighborhoods that didn't belong to none of them. He stated he just wanted to be the best man he could be and walk by faith and become closer to the Most High. And Deontay wasn't just talking, he was living and walking that life. About 4 years prior, he turned his life over to God and started attending a small church in Detroit, ran by a man in his 30s, Pastor Keon Allison. The pastor was well loved by the community and married for years, and it seemed like he was a solid, righteous man, in which Deontay admired him for. The two men ended up getting real close, and Deontay looked at Pastor Keon as a father figure. He even brought him into his personal life, in which Deontay had a woman in his life that he was serious about, named Takir. The two had known each other for years and had been together for a minute. And as years went by, they went on a spiritual journey together. She also was a member of the church and close to the pastor. Deontay, feeling like Taked was the one for him and taking Pastor Keon's advice, even proposed to the young lady. And no one was better to marry the two than Pastor Keon. Now with his last name, him and Taked were one under the Most High, and life seemed perfect for Deontay. His wife, football, the church, and spiritual father, his pastor. Pastor played a major role in helping the young couple, financially and giving them words of wisdom, speaking from experience, because at that time, he had also been in a 15-year marriage. But as time went on, Deontay started growing suspicious on how close his wife and pastor had become. He would notice the pastor texting her and not him, her claiming she was going to certain church events he wasn't aware of, and her demeanor kept changing day by day. At first, he brushed it off, like, nah, I'm geeking, as Deontay felt he had a good woman by his side and pastor would never. But things got ugly when one day Deontay suspected his wife was pregnant and hiding it from him. At first, he was excited, thinking they were having a child. He kept asking her, like, are you pregnant? But she kept denying it. But by this point, he knew she was, because her lady friend that came every month disappeared altogether, and he saw the morning sickness and other signs as well. A few weeks would go by, and Deontay noticed Taked just go back to normal, and he thought, how is that possible? I know she was pregnant. That's when he got word his wife had went to a clinic behind his back and got what he thought was his seed removed from her body. Now his mind was spinning, and wanting the truth, he confronted her about it and even went through her phone. That's when he saw inappropriate messages between her and Pastor Keon. It was at that time a light bulb clicked in the young man's head. The secret trips his wife was going on with the church, the pastor acting shady, his wife pulling back, he came to the conclusion Taked was having an affair with Pastor Keon, and that baby wasn't his. That's why she kept lying and went and pulled that move without telling him. Crushed, he kept asking his wife for the truth. And what hurt him the most is when he spoke to friends and other members of the church about his suspicions, people were not surprised at all. Feeling played, Deontay contacted the pastor, who denied everything, telling him, you are like a son to me. I would never. But things just kept playing in the young man's head. The pastor giving him money, advising him to marry Taked, him guiding their relationship. It all seemed like an elaborate plot, and he felt his wife was the pastor's side chick. Deontay went on a Facebook run, asking questions, tagging pastor and the church members, telling everybody how corrupt and evil they were, knowing this was going on behind his back. But everybody told the young man he was geeking or just pray about it. But Deontay knew what he knew. And at that point, some friends were even telling him, like, yeah, bro, the truth is out now. Glad it came to you. He put posts up like divorced, showing he was putting Taked's things out. But he soon started feeling like everybody played him like a sucker. Deontay fell back off the church and left Taked, but he still wanted to talk to the man he looked up to as a father, face to face, man to man. Knowing all the pastor's hustles and jobs, even where he lived at, on September 16th, 2015, Deontay decided he would go to pastor's house early that morning. When he pulled up, he demanded the pastor and his wife give him all his ties back. Now feeling like everybody took his kindness for weakness, that 7 Mile street side was coming back out. He threatened the pastor and his wife, causing them to call police. Deontay was taken into custody, detained, but released later that night. He then texted the pastor, threatening the man and telling him, like, just tell the truth, bro. Knowing the pastor had a gig working overnight as security, he texted him 2:30 in the morning, saying check on your house and your family. Scared, Keon called police to do a welfare check, but everything was normal. Doing all that, the pastor kept preaching, denying the allegations, even speaking sermons about marriage, relationships, and the importance of a man not spreading himself thin and committing to one woman. Telling the congregation he had been with his wife for over 15 years. And the Facebook post Deontay made about him and Taked were simply lies. Hearing that pastor kept denying what he felt he knew was true, on October 16th, Deontay went to Keon's day job at an auto shop to confront the man. But the pastor saw his car pulling up, saw Deontay grab a bat and ran to the back, jumped in his car, before Deontay caught him. The young man hit the car with a bat, breaking the window before Keon sped off. But it was clear the young man was on his heels and wanted answers. But Deontay knew exactly where to catch the pastor and Takir at, so nobody could run, and he could confront them together face to face. That was at the church. On Sunday, October 18th, 2015, he pulled up to the afternoon service and walked in which some speculated the young man had a piece of brick in his hand. He confronted Takir before telling Pastor Keon to come talk to him man to man. They alleged he even pushed the pastor's mother down. As some of the men from the congregation took Deontay in another room to talk to him, they told him he had to leave, in which he agreed. But when the young man came out the room, he proceeded to approach the pastor, who then upped the gun and shot once, before then shooting multiple times. Detroit police were called to the church about shots fired, and when they arrived, they found Deontay suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. And unfortunately, at just 25 years old, the young man passed away at the scene from his injuries. Most people of the congregation refused to talk to police. Others claimed Deontay had a brick and was confronting the pastor about having an affair with his wife. Pastor Keon was taken in for questioning, but released that same night, causing Deontay's family to be in pain and outrage. Friends and relatives confirmed his story, saying Takir admitted to him everything, and the pastor was trying to deny it to keep a clean image for the church. They stated Deontay was a good dude, but he was hurt about the situation and how a person he looked up to as a father betrayed him like that. Things really took a turn when the state decided they would drop all charges against the pastor, claiming it was self-defense. This caused Deontay's mother to come forward, claiming she had receipts of the relationship, stating her son told her Takir admitted to being pregnant, lied, said she miscarried, but really went to the clinic. She showed text messages after the fact, where she texted Takir, also messages she claimed her son screenshotted and sent to her before he lost his life. And one she claimed came from Takir's phone after he went to Keon's job, stated, "We can't be together no more. Deontay came to my job and I shot him." His mother felt even though Pastor didn't shoot that day, and at that time, he was admitting that if Deontay kept looking for answers, he would shoot him. And which just 2 days later, he did. She felt the congregation were all covering up for Keon, lying about what happened, stating Deontay really didn't have a brick. Pastor just wanted him gone. She urged the case to be reopened. But during my research, it seemed like the verdict of self-defense would still stand. Rest in peace to Deontay. I send my prayers and condolences to his family. I know we cover a lot of stories, but this one of them ones that's just cold. The coldest betrayal I ever heard, if everything was true. Pastor Keon treated Deontay like a son, even recommended him to marry Takir, did the ceremony and whole time was smashing her, and even putting a baby in her, paying the bills. I would have knew something was off right then and there. Like, hold up, Pastor Slick, why you giving my wife money? So I understand why Deontay snapped. He went to the church to change his life, trusted a man who was supposed to be of the cloth for 4 years, let him into his life, and got backdoored. He could have stayed in the streets if he wanted that to happen. But I want to leave this one open for discussion. Y'all let me know y'all thoughts about the situation. And have you ever witnessed or experienced a cruddy pastor or things like this going on at the church? Let me know your experiences in the comments. And remember, we got to succeed, not to fail, so we won't be just another hood tale. Yeah, man, super crazy story. Rest in peace to Deontay. I definitely send my prayers to his family. But I ain't gonna talk too much more about this one. Y'all leave it in the comments. I appreciate you if you made it to the end. That's another episode of Hood Tales. It's your boy Tony 2 times. Love, fam. I'm out.